Hi, I'm Curious Vedant, and welcome to season 3 of my podcast. Today, my guest is Nalini, the founder and CEO of Naturethings, a startup based in Singapore that helps people grow plants at their homes and discover well being through plants. Hi, Nalini. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Vedant. Thank you so much for inviting me to your amazing podcast.
You're welcome. This is really fun. I have some plants in my background, and
You
I
do?
also have some carrots, but they're not doing well.
Oh, no. Why? What happened to your carrots?
I don't know, they're just starting to wilt.
They're starting to wilt. So, what are you going to do about that?
I don't know. I
How long have
mean,
you been growing them?
they've been growing probably like 1 or 2 weeks. They were
Yeah.
growing, and then we were watering it every day, but then it stopped growing and started wilting.
Maybe you just need to work with mummy and daddy to just make sure you adjust a few things, Vedant, because one of the things I love about plants is that it's nature, right? So, it has its own cycle of growing, like a little kid. Sometimes the kid is happy, you are happy all the time, and then some days you don't feel so happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what should we do when Vedant is not happy for a while?
Make him happy.
Exactly. And you just wait also, right? Because maybe Vedant is just going to, need a little bit of time and then he's going to start feeling happy again. Right. So I think you already know how to grow plants then. So you know how to make them happy and you just be patient with them. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, your carrots will start smiling in no time.
Mm-hmm. So, Nalini, I'm curious to know, what does nature things do?
Nature Things essentially connects people who love plants together to buy plants, sell plants, talk about plants all in one single app.
Why is it important to grow plants at home?
Okay, so like you are telling me right now, you said that hey, my carrots were doing well, and then my carrots were sort of wilting. What growing plants at home does is it helps us understand and appreciate these cycles of nature, right? And why is it important for us to be close to nature? Because even 20 minutes a day of being near nature, Vedant, can actually calm you down, make you happier, and it actually makes you a lot more resilient in the sense that you become a lot stronger, right? Both mentally and physically. And in case of things like carrots and other edible plants, you can actually even consume them. And eating plants is another great way to improve your health, right? And because you've grown them, you're so much more happier when you harvest it and when you make curry out of it or when you make a nice little sandwich out of it, right? It makes you so proud. Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
it does. So that's one of the good things about growing your own plants. So yeah, just 20 minutes every day, because when you live in a city like you do, Vedant, it's not easy to go to a garden or travel all the way out, to go sit next to a forest, for example, right? So the closest thing you can do is actually grow a little garden in your home, in your balcony.
Apart from the carrots in my balcony, the garden also has maybe some basil and some
Nice.
curry leaves.
Yes, I especially
Coriander.
love curry leaves, coriander. Yeah. There's so much you get in such a little space, right? It makes you so happy when you harvest it.
Yeah, you are. And I also have red bean, which they have grown a lot.
Yeah.
Within the
Nice.
first within the first week, they have, like, from a small seed, the
Yeah.
next day it was already germinating. Then it
Yeah.
became a then it was a sapling.
Correct.
A very And then and now it's very tall.
It is, right? And it makes you feel so happy and proud, like it's your little pet, right? So that's the thing. That's one of the big reasons to go plants beyond the benefits of keeping you happy, so mentally, physically fit. They also almost feel like a companion, right? Something you feel like running home when you're done with your classes or when you play with your friends, you come back and you feel like checking on them, right? You feel like looking in and seeing how they're doing, especially if you water them. You're very curious to see how much they've grown today and then tomorrow, right? So I think that's a very essential part for human beings, to feel like you're nurturing something, you're growing something. It makes you, we're very interconnected with that world. And I think doing this Vedant has also made you a lot more sensitive about throwing away food, right? You know how much hard work now goes into growing your carrots or your beans. So no more fussy Vedant, I hope.
And I was never fussy with food.
Yes, I'm sure you were it. But I think for a lot of us, like I grew up a little fussy with food, I would have preferences. But I think when I started to grow my own stuff, it became very, it's almost like, a proud little thing that you do when you cook your own food. And it made me also look up things that I could do with my food, which were a lot more nutritious, a lot more healthier than eating just super processed foods. You know what I'm saying? Like a fresh salad feels so much more tastier than, eating something super processed like a burger. So I think growing your own food, or even when you have like other plants which are not food, like flowering plants, or just super nice decorative plants like the ones I have here, right? It just feels really good when they put out two new leaves, or when they have grown like 5 inches, right? Yeah, so that's the
Yeah,
fun thing
that's.
about plants.
How do you help people grow plants at home?
Yeah, so one of the things, like you said right now, is first, when you start growing plants, there is this whole journey you go through. Oh, is it doing well? Oh, it's doing great, I love it. Oh no, why is it wilting? So I think there are a lot of questions we face when we are looking to grow plants, right? So it's important that you have the right sort of help when you're going about the journey, somebody to tell you that it's okay, somebody to give you a sense that, all right, this is what you can do to fix it. So you just started the podcast asking me, saying, hey, it's wilting. Why do you think it's wilting, or what do I do? So I'm not an expert at growing carrots. I also have, killed a lot of carrots in my time. So it's important to have a nice set of go to experts who you can ask these questions. And it's nice if you can get the answers quickly, yeah, because when you sometimes go to the internet, or you start Googling, you start looking at YouTube, it can be hours before you get answers, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And started growing stuff from whatever you had at home, or you went shopping. Did you end up picking up seeds from outside, or did you start growing from what's at home?
So first, my mother, sh-
Yeah.
so she was cutting carrots, and then she noticed the tops of few of them were already sprouting, so she
Yeah.
planted them. And then when she cut open a bell pepper, inside it was sprouting already, so we
Yeah.
planted that.
Yeah.
Then from my school, I got another carrot top, which we were growing. And then my father went out and bought 2 packets of different types of basil.
Yeah.
So
See,
one was
so
big
yeah,
sweet basil, one was
yeah,
basil lemonade.
nice. So that's the thing, right? You can get plants from different places. So even kind of having all of these shops at one place is another great way to make it easier for people to start, because people are also busy. I think when you had school, if you remember, you were spending so many hours at school, you wouldn't have this much time at home, right? But I think what we do at Nature Things is we're just bringing all of this together. So experts who can help you out, like give you the right advice at the right time. Maybe even do a quick video call with you to take a look at your carrots and tell you what's going on. A whole lot of shops where you can buy different stuff. So when, let's say, your basil gets bigger, or your beans start to grow along the wall, you need more things to support them. Yes. So just buying all of those things at different points in time, and also having somebody maybe who can come home and help. If tomorrow Vedant has a big farm and he needs a little bit of help from somebody, a little professional. So the idea is to bring everything together for whatever may be the kind of garden or farm you want to have at home. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said about buying stuff when maybe your beans or something is
Yeah.
going against the wall, we've bought these steel rod kind of things, and
Right.
we've bent them, and then we've used these little things where they tie your shopping bags. Those, yeah, the tags.
Yeah.
We've we've not put it tightly, but
Yeah.
we just put it from the plant to the
To
rod.
support it. Yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't like put it so tight that water can't pass through.
Yeah. See, so that's super cool. And I'm sure with your father and your mother, you've started to discover these small things like not to keep it so tight that the water shouldn't pass through. It's amazing, right? What all you're learning on the journey of as the beans grow older. Yeah, it's like watching a little younger sibling or a little pet grow, right? It's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
How did you come up with the idea to start Nature Things?
that's a really nice question, Vedant, because right now, as we're talking, also, we're realizing there's so many things that you've been facing when you're trying to grow your little garden, right? And it hit me when, so I've lived across different countries at different points in time. And every time I tried to start a garden, it sort of was a lot of time and energy and having to figure out where to go and shop. Because sometimes when you are really new to a place, or you've been living in a space, but you just realized this year that you want to get started, it's not that easy to know what's around you. Yeah, it's good to have. I'm sure you use a lot of Google Maps and stuff like that to figure out where to go and what new places to try, right? So it's very similar to that. So the idea I had was, how can we make it easier when somebody wants to get started with a garden, or they're facing trouble by once they've started, like the way Vedant has. Um, can they come to one place and find all the answers and the help and all the things they need to get this off the ground? Yeah.
That's very nice, actually. I mean, it's really nice that you're thinking of helping people grow plants at home.
Yes, I think that's what got me most excited. The fact that there are so many more people like me who wanted this help. And it feels great when you're able to help people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
it does. Yes. So hopefully, I'll see Vedant also in Nature Things very soon. But really cool the way you have a nice little garden going, Vedant. I would love to see it sometime.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's progressing really well, except for the
Lovely.
carrots, which are not doing so well.
Okay, I would love to get you the help if so. Once your father and your mother are done with their work, let me know, and we would love to find you somebody who can tell you all about your carrots and maybe even tell you exactly what's wrong, like a doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be nice.
Okay, cool. Let's do that then.
Can you share a few tips for beginners like me who want to start growing plants at home?
Sure. I think the first thing to remember is that you can just start growing with any plant around you, right? I think you've already got that part where you don't just have to start with like the plants that you see on the internet. It could just be carrot tops from the food you were making today. It could just be a little avocado seed. After you've carved out your avocado, you can start with any of these things, a seed, a little sapling to grow your plants, right? So that should never hold you back. Anybody can start right now to do this. The second thing is, it's okay to kill a plant, because it's a bit of a trial and error, and people get very sad and very demotivated when the ends up dying. But we need to understand that there are a lot of little things that you need to get right before it starts growing really well. So it's okay to not, it's okay to feel sad, but you should keep at it, keep trying, don't give up, right? And the third thing is, be patient. It's a living thing, and every living thing is different, right? So as with all living things, they have their unique personality, and it a lot depends upon your home, how Vedant is growing the plant, like what's his personality. Is he very excited? Does he like to watch it all the time, or does he forget about it sometime, and sometimes even forgets to water it? It really depends on how you have approached your plants, that the way they grow and they respond, right? So be patient. We all make mistakes, but it's important to not give up and keep course correcting as we go along, and it will reward you. right? So these are my top few tips for you.
Yeah, those are some very good tips. I'll make sure
Okay.
I follow it.
Awesome. I already think you are, and you're a very smart kid. Make sure you spend 20 minutes with your plants.
I
That's,
will.
yeah, that's going to really, really make you super calm and super. I was telling your mom about Plants versus Zombies, right? It's this really cool game. I do think if we don't hang out with plants, we will become zombies. So hang out with your plants for 20 minutes every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you said that you need to be patient and all the living things take their own time, when
Yeah.
I was younger in
Yeah.
India, we have this humongous garden on our terrace. And
Okay.
there, every time we planted something new, I was like, why isn't it sprouting yet? Why isn't it sprouting yet?
Yeah, it's like little Vedan going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? So yeah, I think plants really teach you to be patient because with a puppy, you can see it sort of grow slowly over 2 or 3 years, right? So you don't sort of feel like, oh my God, why is it not big yet? With plants, because they can't speak to you and because they can't really express, there's always this excitement saying, is it done? Is it there yet? Is it out yet? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it teaches you patience, right? Have you become more patient from when you were a little kid?
Yeah, I have become
Oh,
patient.
brilliant. Okay. So I think plants, I'm sure your mom and dad have also done a lot, but the more you hang out with plants as you get older, it'll really kind of make you super, super calm and zen. And that's very important in today's time and age, yeah, where there's just so much of everything coming your way from the internet, from the TV, from the outside. Like there's, not right now, but there is a lot of traffic and pollution outside. It's a it's it's um it's difficult to stay calm and be happy all day long. So getting this little bit of time with plants is a great way to do that.
Won't growing plants inside the house attract mosquitoes and other bugs?
Yes, and this is a bit scary for me as well, right? Because I'm very scared of insects also and lizards especially, right? So right now there is a little guy sitting inside this plant, and I am super scared that he's going to jump out and start wriggling. But I think not all plants attract mosquitoes. So firstly, these are all they're meant to be living together. So we've actually sort of, as human beings, come and sort of taken them out of their natural environment, which is a forest, right? So we need to understand that a little bit of bugs and a little bit of these insects are actually harmless. They're meant to coexist together. But things like mosquitoes are definitely a problem, right? Because they can give you a lot of infectious diseases. So, usually, mosquitoes happen, like with anything else, if you have left stagnant water, or if the area that you are trying to grow your plants is not clean, like you don't sort of clean out the overspills and you just sort of let things be soggy for a very long time. So I think maintaining a clean garden and making sure that it's not very dense, at least indoors, right? So if you keep all plants together very close by, that also tends to attract mosquitoes, because the mosquitoes are also just sort of trying to shelter from the wind and they just need a place to rest sometimes, right? So keeping them a little far apart, making sure that the area you're growing is not very soggy or waterlogged and it's clean. And lastly, if you're really sort of concerned about this, there are some plants which can help repel these mosquitoes and bugs as well. Like, for example, lemongrass or eucalyptus or lavender. Have you heard of these plants?
Yes, I have. They all
You have.
smell very nice.
Exactly. So a lot of these have gone into making our medicines also, and they go into lotions and creams. So a lot of times when you apply bug repellents or sprays on you, they have eucalyptus oil or neem oil inside them. So these are derived from plants. So you could always grow those kind of plants if you're really sort of, you don't like having bugs and mosquitoes around you at all. Yeah.
I am okay having them, but not
Yeah.
too many. Like I'm not
Exactly.
having I'm not okay having cockroaches inside my plants.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we need to understand that these guys are attracted to each other, right? They're all living things. But end of the day, if we take the few right measures, the intensity of the problem is not going to become big. So it's all about taking care, like the way you clean your home, you clean your room, you keep things nice and tidy and straightened out. It's the same thing with your garden as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
because my mom has always told me to make sure I don't spill any food on the ground or anything so
Yeah,
that ants don't come. I guess it's the same way.
it's pretty much the same way. Yeah.
What did you want to be as a child?
So, okay, that's that's a really nice question because in my age when we were really young, we weren't asked that question too much, right? So it made me think a lot. I think as a child, I just always wanted to be on an adventure, and I liked taking people along for an adventure. So whenever I had come up with something new, the excitement is like, how can I get everybody in it? How can I get everybody to come along and have fun and have the best possible experience with it? So I think that's to me my child as a dream, which I've been living as an adult now. So whether it's with business like Nature Things, or whether it's planning a trip or a birthday party, I always like it to be a bit of an adventure. Yeah. I don't like to do things the usual way. I love experimenting. So, yes, I always wanted to be an adventurer when I grew up, I think.
Yeah, I'm still thinking what I want to be because I have lots of options in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think a lot of times when I talk to my niece and nephew as well, they keep saying they want to be astronauts or lawyer or like a, software engineer, or they want to be, okay, for some reason my nephew wants to drive a truck when he grows up. He's like 2 years old, so I'm guessing that's a lot to do with being 2 years old. But I think it's okay to be all of that at different points in your life, right? Like you could always drive a truck, or you could always study to be an astronaut, whether you end up becoming a part of NASA or not. So I think it's important to know what really kind of excites you, and it's also okay if you don't feel excited by any one thing alone, and if you have a whole lot of interests that you want to pursue. Because I think that's also how I was, that I just loved a whole lot of things, and I still love a whole lot of things, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay because I still I don't like one thing on my wish list.
Yeah,
When someone asks me what I want to be when I grow up, I
yeah.
say this, that, this, that, this, and the list almost goes on forever.
And I guess you can be a little bit of everything too,
Yeah,
maybe once a year you try to be one different thing. You may not be
yeah,
very good at a lot of things, but it's okay to try.
yeah. I guess it is. And then once you find out you're good at one particular thing, go back to doing that.
If you want to. I mean,
Yeah.
if you really enjoy it that much, you can always do more of it, right? So I think you should sometimes try and figure it out. You don't always have to know all the answers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
What are your hobbies?
Yeah, so I think we just sort of realized that I'm into a lot of things because I also like to try a lot of things. I think my hobbies that I've been continuing for a long time now are primarily, I love uh, painting. I do a lot of painting. Like I know Mummy also does a lot of painting. I love working with oil colors and just making up imaginary stuff. I also enjoy music. So I love rock music, and hopefully, as you get older, I would love to share a couple of my favorite songs with you growing up. And I think lastly, I have always loved adventure sports. So I've done a whole lot of very fun adventure sports like diving and skydiving and trekking in the mountains. So yeah, I would say these are my top few hobbies.
For these adventure stuff, I've done one, and
Yeah,
that
which one?
Um, Parasailing.
Ooh, nice. Was it fun? Were you scared?
I mean, when I was going into the air, I was like, help, help. And then after something, I'm like, so nice. Can we go again?
Yeah. So that's a life lesson, right? And that's the same with your carrots. Going in, it does feel a little like, oh no, help, help. And then once you're out there doing it, you'll feel more confident. So yeah, that's a pretty cool parasailing lesson to have learned, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, Vedant. I really enjoyed myself.
This was really nice.
Thank you. I loved it too.
Me too. Dear listeners, follow my Facebook page, Curious Vedant, to get updates on my upcoming episodes. To listen at leisure on your phone and get notified about future episodes, subscribe by searching for Curious Vedant wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can also listen to my show on curiousvedant.com. Thank you for listening to Curious Vedant, and don't forget to rate and leave comments.